Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. Before we dive into today's video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you enjoy strategy content like this. Every bit of support helps the channel grow and allows us to keep testing heroes, discovering new strategies, and bringing you the best information possible from Dominion. And today we're doing something many of you have been asking for ever since Mew arrived in the game. We're going to talk about top 5 teams for Mew. Now, before we begin, there is something very important to say. Mew is still a very new hero, and we are testing her extensively. That means these teams are based on the combinations that stood out the most during our testing so far. In the future, we may discover even more combinations, or some teams may evolve as players experiment more. But right now, these are the lineups where her buffs, her mechanics, and her magical amplification truly shine. And stay until the end, because after the teams we also have a super tip that will help you understand Mew even better and use her much more effectively in battle. So let's begin. The first team revolves around one of the most dangerous burst heroes in the game when magical critical hits enter the equation. Sartori. The lineup is Sartori, Verna, Soleil, Polaris, and Mew. This team becomes incredibly explosive because of how Sartori interacts with magical critical mechanics. His Foxfire marks can already accumulate devastating damage, but when magical critical hits are introduced into the equation, those explosions become significantly stronger. And this is where Mew enters the picture. Her abilities increase magical pressure on the battlefield, and more importantly, the blindness effect she applies to enemies slows down the enemy's offensive rhythm. When enemies miss attacks, it gives Sartori more time to accumulate Foxfire marks and prepare that devastating blast. Now add Verna into the mix. Verna provides sustain and magical reinforcement, helping keep the team stable during the build-up phase. Soleil contributes additional magical damage and pressure, while Polaris adds control and magical scaling. So what you end up with is a lineup where enemies are constantly disrupted, while Sartori quietly prepares the moment when everything detonates. And when that moment arrives, the damage can be absolutely overwhelming. Now let's move to the second team, which becomes a true magical artillery lineup. Electra, Verna, Folio, Polaris, and Mew. This team focuses on continuous magical pressure. Electra brings strong magical damage and disruptive abilities that destabilize enemy formations. Verna again provides sustain and magical reinforcement, making sure the team remains stable even during long fights. Folio is one of the heroes that benefits enormously from Mew's mechanics. When magical critical chance increases, Folio's abilities can reach extremely high damage numbers, turning his attacks into devastating bursts. Polaris continues to contribute control and magical scaling, creating a battlefield where enemies are constantly under pressure. And then there is Mew at the back of the team, amplifying magical power and enabling those critical moments where mage damage suddenly skyrockets. This lineup becomes extremely dangerous because it combines control, sustain, and massive magical bursts. Now let's move to the third team, which might surprise some of you. Dante, Tempest, Iris, Octavia, and Mew. At first glance, this might look like a hybrid lineup, but the synergy here becomes very interesting. Dante provides strong frontline pressure and agility-based damage, forcing enemies to deal with a fast and aggressive threat. Tempest adds battlefield manipulation and disruption, helping the team control the pace of combat. Iris is where things start to become really dangerous. Her ability to extract inner souls and convert them into devastating magical damage works incredibly well when magical amplification is present. When enemies are weakened and their defensive stability collapses, Iris can start removing huge chunks of health from multiple targets. Octavia brings additional support and synergy to the formation, helping stabilize the team during fights. And then, once again, Mew sits at the back amplifying magical pressure and creating the conditions where Iris and other magical damage dealers can perform even better. This team becomes especially dangerous in offensive scenarios where damage spikes can appear very suddenly. Now let's move to the fourth lineup. Electra, Burner, Amira, Folio, and Mew. This is another incredibly powerful magical lineup that focuses on damage amplification and magical destruction. Electra again brings pressure and disruption. Burner stabilizes the team with healing and magical reinforcement. Amira adds another layer of magical power, capable of delivering devastating bursts when enemies are already under pressure. Folio once again benefits greatly from magical critical chance and magical amplification, allowing his abilities to deal incredible damage when the opportunity appears. And Mew completes the formation by amplifying magical pressure across the battlefield. What makes this lineup so dangerous is that every single hero contributes to magical dominance. When the team starts gaining momentum, enemy defenses can collapse very quickly. And now we arrive at the fifth entry in today's list. But this one is not exactly a team. It's a super tip. And this tip is extremely important if you want to truly understand how Mew works. Mew is currently the most backline positioned hero in the entire game. And she has an ability that constantly increases the magical critical hit chance of the ally standing directly in front of her. This is where many players might make a mistake if they don't understand how positioning works. Let's take the third team we mentioned earlier as an example. In that lineup, Octavia stands in front of Mew. Octavia does not have the magical critical hit stat. So while she still benefits from the magic penetration buff that Mew applies to the team, she does not fully benefit from the magical critical hit chance that Mew grants to the ally in front of her. This means that whenever possible, you should try to place a powerful mage in front of Mew. Because that hero will benefit enormously from the magical critical hit chance increase. And this is where things become very exciting. Heroes like Lars, Folio, Amira, Polaris, Orion, and many other magical damage dealers can benefit tremendously from this positioning. And remember something important. When we say mage, it doesn't necessarily mean only heroes labeled as mages benefit from this. Polaris, for example, is not technically a mage, but when she receives magical critical bonuses from Mew, her damage can skyrocket. So positioning becomes a key strategic element when using this hero. If you place Mew behind a powerful magical damage dealer that benefits from magical critical hits, her abilities become even more impactful. This small positioning detail can make a huge difference in how effective Mew becomes in battle. So keep that in mind when building your teams. Guardians, these are some of the most impressive combinations we have seen so far during our testing with Mew. Her ability to amplify magical damage, enable magical critical mechanics, and support powerful mage heroes opens many possibilities. And we are still testing. In the coming days, we will continue experimenting with different lineups, exploring more combinations, discovering counters, and analyzing how she performs against the strongest teams in Dominion. And when we finish those tests, we will bring everything together in a complete guide with the best teams, counters, and strategies to help you master this new hero. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.